So we all know that the Las Vegas Raiders do not have an X receiver right now. We don't have our franchise wide receiver. Obviously, we also don't have our franchise quarterback either. But moving into the 2025 NFL season, the Raiders will be making some moves in both the quarterback situation as well as getting an X receiver or franchise guy who's going to require those double teams to free up Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Jacoby Myers, and Trey Tucker to be able to see more action on their side of the field. And the question comes down to, should the Raiders draft that X receiver, which will be difficult because the Raiders will most likely, 99% chance, will be drafting a quarterback this year in the first round, and the best wide receivers will also be going high in the first round, like Travis Hunter as well as McMillan. So the Raiders will have to address the wide receiver situation in the free agency, and that's what we're going to cover today. The best wide receivers who will possibly hit the free agent market in the 2025 NFL season. All that and more on today's episode of the Raider D Podcast. All right, Raiders and Raiderettes, let's jump into the video. But before we do, I do just want to make an announcement that, hey, we have yet another $300 gift to give away. This is the Xbot Go Smart AI Gimbal. We're going to be giving this away out of this video right here, and all you have to do to enter to win is just comment down below, just win. That's right, all you got to do is comment down below, just win, and if you're a subscriber, we will give this away to one of you. And I also just want to thank one of our other previous winners, Raider Ryan. He put in the winning comment in a previous video, and we have now selected that video's winner, and he is winning this military grade backpack in brown camo with lots of molly and all kinds of fun features. This is one of our Black Rain official military grade backpacks. And so Raider Ryan, thank you so much for being a big time supporter of the channel. We'll be sending you out an email shortly to get your address and send this out to you. Guys, if you love the Raiders and you love the Raider D Podcast and what we've been bringing to you every day for a year now, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so, and also do us a big favor and like this video and share it with all your friends and family. Now let's jump into the video today, guys, because I'm kind of excited about the 2025 NFL season, being that the Raiders have made it very clear through leaked sources that they will be getting the franchise quarterback in this year's draft. They're going to do everything it takes, and the most likely candidate is going to be Shedeur Sanders. With that being said, is who's he going to throw the ball to? Now, as much as we love Jacoby Myers is, yes, he is a serviceable X receiver. He is a serviceable wide receiver number one, but he is so much better being a wide receiver number two because he is a Swiss Army knife of a wide receiver. He can do so many different things, from end arounds, from literally lining up as a running back to playing quarterback. And so you want to be able to keep him more versatile, whereas with your franchise X quarterback or with your franchise X wide receiver, you really want to utilize them what they're best at. So with that being said, let's jump into who possible free agent candidates are going to be. Now, let's put a little asterisk on here. All of these wide receivers may not actually make it to the free agency, as they could get franchise tagged and they could also work out deals with their teams. But here's a list of 10 potentials who could hit the free agency market, and we're going to list them from least desirable to the most desirable in a backwards order. Let's start out with Mike Williams, who will be 29 years old in 2025, could hit the free agency market. He's a very serviceable wide receiver. He's decent enough size, athleticism, hands, all of that, but he's never been a superstar type of wide receiver for the Jets. And so I would say, if he's available, take a look at him, and depending on his cost, maybe you go and pick him up. But other than that, I would probably steer clear, because he is going to be 29 years old, which means he is getting older, and we're trying to look for somebody maybe a little bit younger. Now, the second guy on this list is going to be Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is a perennial Pro Bowler. He will probably end up in the Hall of Fame. He has just been a professional his entire career. He is a fantastic veteran The knock on him is he will be 32 years old in the 2025 NFL season. For me, that's a no. Let's move on to Brandon Cooks, Dallas Cowboys. Again, another great wide receiver, veteran. The knock on him, again, is going to be his age. He's going to be 30 years old in 2025. And if we're looking for that franchise X receiver, we want to give them a 4-year deal. And if you gave Brandon Cooks a 4-year deal, he's going to be 34 years old by the time it's done. And you're talking about $100 to $120 million for a 34-year-old guy? Probably not. Let's go up the board one more time and go to Deontay Johnson. He will be only 28 in the 2025 NFL season, but he has only had one 1,000 receiving season in his entire career, and that's a little bit questionable. But there is no doubt that Deontay Johnson is a great wide receiver. I think he would make a great wide receiver 1 for the Raiders, but it's questionable as to whether or not he could continue to produce on a routine basis of over 1,000 yards for Shedeur Sanders if he is our quarterback, which he most likely will be. For this one, I'm going to give it a grade of a C+ if he's available and you can get him on a cheap enough deal and there's no other options. I'd say go ahead and take him. You can't do too much worse. Moving up the board is DeAndre Hopkins. He is, he's D-Hop, right? And so he'll be 32 years old. Not sure what the Chiefs are going to do with him come next year, but if he is out there, maybe you sign him for a 1-year deal if you cannot get anybody else and you're looking to the 2026 NFL draft for your future franchise wide receiver there. I think it's very serviceable. D-Hop is a fantastic wide receiver. And if you give him a 1-year deal, he'll probably still have enough in the tank in order to open some things up. And he gives that sure set of hands for your rookie quarterback. I'll give this one probably a C+ if he's available and we have no other choices. Now, moving up the board again to Marquise Brown. He's going to be 27 years old, so certainly young enough. He is the fastest out of this entire wide receiver core that we're going to be talking about today. He's going to be 27 years old in 2025, so plenty of legs left in his career. He is a speed demon, and you just can't go wrong with that when you run a 4.27. So Marquise Brown, for me, if he's available, definitely a very big opportunity for the Raiders if they could land Marquise Brown in the free agency come next year. If he's available and we could work out a deal with him, I would have no problem giving him a 4-year, $120 million deal, and he would be a superstar on the Raiders. I would give that one an A-. Now, moving up the board again, we have Stephon Diggs. Again, he has been just a perennial Pro Bowler. He's a fantastic wide receiver. He did have a torn ACL, which is basically messed up his entire season for the Houston Texans. He's going to be 31 years old in 2025 with the injury history. I'm going to go ahead and give this one an F. Stay clear of him. Don't really want him. In fact, I would put, obviously, Marquise Brown higher up on the board, except for I do believe that the Chiefs are going to probably retain him and he won't actually end up in the free agency. That's why I have him lower on the board. Coming up to the number 3 spot is going to be Amari Cooper. He's going to be 30 years old, a return to the Raiders. Once a Raider, always a Raider, retire as a Raider. Very good possibility. This dude has certainly increased his value throughout his career. When he was with us, he had some drop issues. He has definitely cleared that up for his career. He is a very sure-handed wide receiver, one of the best route runners in the NFL. Knock on him, going to be 30 years old. If you were to bring Amari Cooper into the Raiders, you would have to limit him to a 2-year career, a 2-year deal. That's the most that you could give him because that would make him 32 at the end of his career. I would give this one a B-. Once a Raider, always a Raider. Would love to have Amari Cooper come and retire as a Raider. Now, moving up to the number 2 spot is going to be Chris Godwin. He's going to be 29 years old in 2025, so still some legs left under him. He has had 3 1,000-yard seasons in the last 3 years before his 2024 injury. So if Chris Godwin is good to go for next season and he actually hits the free market, Chris Godwin is absolutely it's a no-brainer that you would go and pick him up, especially if you can work out a good deal with him. I would limit him to probably a 3-year deal. Don't give him a 4-year deal at 29, plus with the injury history. I would give this one a B-. I don't think that he'll actually hit the free agency, but if he were, he would be a good option for the Raiders. Now, moving up to the number 1 spot, this is the juicy spot. And again, just a quick reminder, if you guys want to enter to win the $300 grand prize on this video, all you got to do, just comment down in the comment below, just win. That's all you got to do. Comment just win, and you could win this $300 AI smart gimbal for your smartphone. Let's get into number 1. Drum roll, please. All right, I'm talking about T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Jamar Chase is the favorite wide receiver of Joe Burrow down there in Cincinnati, and that means that T. Higgins, who is currently playing on a franchise tag and has made it very clear that he will not play on a franchise tag next year, he is going to be an unrestricted free agent. The problem is that the Bengals cannot keep Jamar Chase and T. Higgins because T. Higgins is going to require a pretty penny. Now, I do understand that he has had a hamstring injury and then a quad injury, and that has really limited his play. But in just 5 games, the dude has over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He is a mismatch at 6'4", 220 pounds for any corner trying to defend him in the NFL. That's why I think T. Higgins would be a perfect fit at only 25 years old in the 2025 NFL season. You give him a long-term deal. 4 years, $120 million. Backstack it towards the back end of his deal, so that we can continue to go out and hunt in the free agency for more key players. One of the great things is that we're going to have a rookie quarterback on a rookie quarterback scale contract, and even though they will be a very high first-round draft pick, their contract will be nothing compared to what other players are going to be making on this team, which means we can load up this team with free agency help. And yes, I know some people are saying, well, we would be overpaying if we were to give T. Higgins $30 million a year. I don't think so. T. Higgins does one thing very, very well, and that is he is a true end zone threat. At 6'4", he's a mismatch for anybody trying to cover him, and he just simply comes down with the ball. All you got to do is, if he is in single coverage, you throw him the ball, high point it, he's coming down with it. And here's the problem with any defense trying to defend the Las Vegas Raiders next year with our rookie quarterback is if the Raiders have T. Higgins at 6'4", okay, you want to double team him, fine, no problem. We'll go ahead and just throw it to our 6'4" Brock Bowers. Oh, you want to double team him? Okay, no problem. We'll just throw it to our other 6'4" tight end, Michael Mayer. And that is the conundrum that all defenses would have to face up against the Las Vegas Raiders by having a guy like T. Higgins mashed with Brock Bowers, mashed with Michael Mayer in the red zone. It would be an absolute nightmare. Now, all we need is a quarterback who can diagnose the defense and get the ball to the proper player who is in single coverage and just throw touchdown after touchdown after touchdown, which is something the Raiders have not been able to do in 20 plus years. It's time to get back to that winning form. So if you guys want to win your $300 AI gimbal, just comment down below, just win.